Here I am with teacher Carles, who has just collaborated on the Flamenco Bass Course.
It has been a pleasure, and of course I encourage you all. See you inside.
Welcome to the Electric Bass channel. This time you're here in person, because we already had a chat, an online discussion. And that's it, we have just outlined the Flamenco Bass Course at the Academy, which you have collaborated with. You have left a legacy there, which subscribers will see, those who want to be there, as students. They will take away that part you've left us. And of course, how could I not want to have you here to talk a bit now, also for the YouTube audience, since you're here? And well, here I have the greatest exponent of flamenco bass, for me. Well, it's not just that he's the greatest exponent, he's the one who created flamenco bass. Because it was forged alongside Paco de Lucía, which we've already talked about. The people who were here, while working on the course, we were left. We've enjoyed watching you play. It's really impressive to see you play within a flamenco style. Incredible. I wanted to talk a little about your teaching side, because you also do masterclasses and you really enjoy teaching the bass. Did you really think about it, that you were a reference?
No, I had never thought about it because I even thought I couldn't. No, that I wouldn't know how to do it because I learned on my own. I didn't learn with a teacher to be able to teach what my teacher taught me, but I had to learn everything by myself. There was no electric bass at the conservatory, not even my double bass teacher. He would tell me, "Don't play this low guitar, man." My learning was completely on my own, that is, taking things from, instead of bassists, I copied guitarists. That's why I brought the bass a bit closer to the guitar, even from a young age. This really helped me later on, without having thought about it that way. But for playing with Paco de Lucía, I already had the bass very guitar-like by the time. When I started with Paco, the classes all came about after a car accident I had, which left me unable to play for a year. And then I remember that the guy from Taller de Musics, Carles, you have to do a master class, and if I'm not playing, then maybe explain it. I mean, explain it without playing it. And I did the first master class without the bass, because I had a thing in my hand here that I couldn't play. I still wasn't ready to pick up the bass. And it was done by Pep Cucurella, a bassist from Barcelona. I mean, we had a previous chat and I explained to him, look, I do it this way and I'll explain it and you play it. And another bassist played it. So you did it with a bassist who was doing or trying to do what I was explaining, right? It was very curious, right? But of course, I was disabled at that moment. I was less able with this arm. And that was my first master class. And then this gave me the idea to say, well, why not do master classes too? Because I think, of course, I saw the interest the kids had, that they wanted to learn this story of the bass like this, the way I was doing it, and then this. When I started playing the bass again, I thought about doing it. So it was a way to first analyze myself, like, why am I doing this and how am I doing it? So I could explain it. So I analyzed myself. I said, what about the pickup? What is the pickup like? I do this, well, now I put it on paper and I wrote one. I started writing some very simple exercises, but that were very clear, tucata, 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 and explaining that the pick, what you cut with the pick, the advantages of playing with a pick for these kinds of things. And that's how I started with the bass classes, with what I do over there.
Of course.
About the Chinese guitar, I always say that I play the Chinese guitar.
Yeah, they said the audience.
Yeah, but sometimes they tell me, Carles, why don't you play a bit more like a bass? And I say, it's just that I don't play the bass, I play the Chinese guitar, man. I keep playing the Chinese guitar.
Well, it has happened to me that when I go to teach something, when I have to teach something, which is more or less what you said, you have to analyze. And that's really when I learn something more deeply inside myself. You two, we were talking earlier when we were in the Bulerías and Alegrías classes, what are you really doing there? Well, I'm just there naturally playing. You have to get into it naturally, right? You see it as natural, but when you have to teach it to someone else, that's really when the teaching aspect starts within you, and you can ask yourself, how do I teach this that I'm still doing?
It's about getting the kid to do it too and saying, no, wait a moment, here's this note. For it to sound similar, you have to press it this way. These are very technical things about pressing, about muting the note with this hand so that it sounds staccato. Tak, tak. Cut. This finger has to mute.
I was going to say that when you do the masterclass, you recommend a pick.
Well, all my exercises are with a pick. There's none that is with a pick and then with the fingers. The strums that I do with it looks like the strum this. This is about seeing the kid and him saying, no, wait a moment, stop here. You have to do it like this. And we have to start from the beginning. Picks downwards, and then, yes, I use 16th notes, 8th notes, but it's always dancing. This hand has to dance to mute the note. You mute the note with this hand.
Of course, my fingers. We have to do it like this, but I, for example, like many who do not have a pick, I have copied you and I have copied a bassist who played with a pick. So in the end, we brought out our hybrid basses because, of course, I only have to do somehow. But it will never be the same then in the end. Let's say you've inspired all of us fingerstyle bassists, but it will never sound the same. It will never sound the same as a musician, of course, but for me, the school was you because I learned from your albums, so I tried to do the same with my fingers.
If I did the same thing I do with my fingers, I wouldn't be able to.
That's why you also recommend bringing a pick, right?
It's a gift.
Sign up now for the only Flamenco Bass Course with Carles Benavent. You'll learn to navigate the different flamenco styles with your bass. You'll also learn the language of flamenco bass and its technique. And above all, you'll see Carles Benavent play through the different flamenco styles. And you'll have his wise advice forever. This course is not a membership. You'll have access to it and all its classes forever. A course to practice with real backing tracks. With flamenco guitar and cajon flamenco. In addition, with its supporting material in PDF and tablature. If you want to access this course, you can do so now at this link or in the link in the comments of this video. You can also search on Google for Flamenco Bass Course with Carles Benavent.
That everything is possible. No, it's just that Paco used to say this too, that flamenco, you can learn too, you know. Some said no, that it's something you have to go and do. You don't just inherit it. If you weren't born into it, no. And they're right, that when you have it from birth, you're already predisposed, right? Obviously.
I had to learn it the hard way.
But I've also had to learn it. And I haven't reached the levels that I could have, you know. But you can learn many things, and to get into it, or to integrate with it. You can.
That's why I created this course. I started with the bass. Flamenco came later thanks to a friend. But when I got into it, well, after he passed me your records and all that, and I started studying it, I realized how much it contributed to my rhythmically. It gave me complete turnaround. Having to play in 3 and getting into the 12 beats of the bulería in that pattern, in that key, or, for example, learning the tanguelos or the tumbao of the tangos, all this is really clear. What you have to be is a fan, because if you don't like flamenco, there are a lot of people who don't like flamenco because flamenco is like the blues dissonant music. But the wealth that a musician has to learn, and I say, is that I tell my students, let's look at the bulería, because it is going to give you this, it is going to give you a wealth. First play 3, but then play in what is the key, because you're going to be off. When you have to play something in 3, you're going to be off. If you've played bulerías and you've chewed on them a bit, you won't have rhythmic problems in that aspect. Because, of course, I think you said that the bulería was the toughest subject, right?
Well, because it's a powerful rhythm and it's powerful. The setbacks are very marked, and there are things with surprises.
Can you play a little bit of bass for bulerías so that... Sí, señor.
Por ejemplo, tú bajito.
Sí, sí, sí. All right, amazing. It's wonderful.
Until you have some good hand clappers, some good guitarists, and a singer, you won't believe it.
Well, Carles, thank you so much again for being here on Debajo Electrico.
To you all.
It's a pleasure. And let's keep it up. And next year we'll see each other again around here.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
All right, thanks.